What's up, guys? It's Meg and welcome back to Meg After Dark. Today we're talking about the latest episode of The Walking Dead. We're talking about season 7 episode 2 called The Well. We finally got to meet the Kingdom, King Ezekiel, Shiva, Jerry. We got to see Carol and Morgan again. I loved this episode so much. What did you guys think of it? Tell me. It's okay if you didn't like it. Let me know in the comments. What was your favorite part? Did you love Jerry just as much as I did? Did you love seeing Carol again? What about Morgan, King Ezekiel? There's so much to talk about. Okay. So let's start out at the beginning of the episode. We see Carol and Morgan finally arrive at the Kingdom. Carol is still her same old self. She wants to escape. She doesn't want to, she doesn't even necessarily want to live anymore, let alone live with people that she cares about, and people that she feels like family, because she's tired of having to kill to protect these people that she cares about. We know this. This is the exact same place that she was at the end of season 6. There's been no time jump here. So we see as they're trying to bring her to the Kingdom, she's very injured, but she's still trying to escape. And we see her watching these walker kills. So the Kingdom guys are killing all these walkers. They come upon a group of walkers. They're almost overcome by them, but they're taking them out. And she's watching it, and we see that she's kind of, she's very injured. She's had a lot of blood loss, and she's hallucinating that these are actually human kills rather than walker kills. And we see that's just telling us just how much the killing is haunting her and how this life is haunting her right now. And so when she finally wakes up again at the Kingdom, she's been patched up. She's been asleep for 2 days, and she wakes up to this weird world, The Kingdom is this very peaceful community where it doesn't really seem like the outside apocalyptic world has affected them very much. They seem to be thriving. They have a school. They have horses, they have gardens. It's very beautiful. And then she gets to meet King Ezekiel, who's just like this over-the-top, kind of weird guy, and he's got a fucking tiger, and Carol just doesn't really know what to make of it. And she immediately puts on that Susie Homemaker persona where, the weak, the meek Carol, okay? She does this all the time now. This is like her go-to to fake people up. She's a survivor. She is very strong, and I hate this persona that she takes on, but I will give it to her. When she decided, like, this is all make-believe, it's all fairy tale, I gotta get the fuck out of here, she played these people so well that no one really noticed that she was taking things. She's taking a knife, she's taking clothes, she's taking food, and nobody is, she's kind of just casually chit-chatting with people, and no one has their guard up so they don't see what she's doing. And that is kind of one of her #1 skills, is that she can blend in and get what she needs or do what she needs to do. She gets things done. She's a survivor, and I love that about her. I love that she can be kind of a chameleon and blend in and then get what she needs and get out and nobody suspects her. But she's met her match in Ezekiel, and she doesn't realize it when she first meets him. So after the meeting, we see her kind of go back to Morgan and be like, dude, what the hell is this place? They're living in a make-believe world. This is not the real world. I cannot be here. And we see that Morgan is like, okay, well, you can get healed. We can come, we can go back to Alexandria. Morgan was marking the way back to Alexandria the entire... Okay, sorry guys. Somebody knocked on my door right in the middle of my sentence, and it's just, I have 4 dogs, and so it's uproar chaos, and I cannot remember where I was. I think I was talking about Morgan marking the way home. So Morgan is not, he doesn't appear to really be interested in staying, at the beginning of this episode, he doesn't really appear to be interested in staying at the Kingdom. He just wants to get Carol healed and take her back to Alexandria, get back home. So we see, I feel like I was going somewhere with that, but now I've like lost my train of thought. So forgive me if I'm going off on a tangent here. But we see, okay, so during this episode, Carol is then sneaking around trying to get supplies so she can leave. Meanwhile, Morgan is going out on kind of a run thing with Ezekiel and some of the other guys there that work with him. And Morgan doesn't really know what he's getting into. We see them rounding up pigs, and these pigs are eating walkers. And I think it was one, I don't know what the guy's name is, I can't remember. It's not Jerry, but it's the guy who is kind of the main guy out on the run with Ezekiel, like his right-hand man there. Tell me what his name is, because I know you guys know, you're so good at this. I've forgotten already. Anyways, he says that they want the pigs full of walker meat, like their bellies full of like the tainted meat. That's immediately what I thought of, was tainted meat. And we discovered that they're making a delivery to the saviors. Now, I forgot for a moment, but Morgan has indeed come across the saviors before. He knows who they are. So he knows one of them was with Carol, but he also has heard Rick talking about them as well when Rick was discussing attacking the first savior's compound, okay? So he knows who these people are. So when he hears Ezekiel make mention of these saviors, he, I think, suddenly realizes that this group is a whole lot bigger than Rick maybe anticipated, that any of them maybe anticipated. So I kind of feel like he might even be more interested now in hurrying back home at this point in time. And by the end of the episode, I kind of think he's going to stay for a while because he has a new mission, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But at this point in the episode, I think he's kind of realizing just how bad these saviors actually are. And then he gets to meet some of them when they come to pick up the pigs. Now, rounding up 8 pigs, like, the saviors are asking a lot of these guys for delivery. So apparently they have a meat week and a fruits and veggies week. And it seems like the kingdom is having to put out quite a lot of food for the saviors. Now, we can see that they're trying to maybe taint the meat so that some of the saviors get sick. That was not something that we saw in the comics, if I remember correctly. So that's kind of a very interesting thing. I would be interested to see how that plays out. If you eat an animal that has eaten walker meat, or eaten a walker, can you get sick from it? That's like a very legitimate question, right? But it would be very interesting to figure out whether or not that's a thing that can happen in the television show. We haven't seen it in the comics, but can it happen? I don't know. It's interesting. So we also find out that King Ezekiel is keeping a very big secret from the rest of the people living in the kingdom. Now, I watched The Talking Dead, and it kind of sounds like maybe some of the people have an idea that something's going on, but Ezekiel has never outright told anyone besides the main, you know, his main soldier guys. I don't know what to call them, knights. His main crew there that goes out and delivers the food to the saviors. He's kind of kept everyone else under an umbrella. And right at the beginning of the episode, when we see Morgan wheeling Carol in to meet Ezekiel, on the wall, so throughout the whole place, on the wall are King Ezekiel's quotes. Okay, like little words of wisdom or inspiring quotes. And I believe the one on the wall to where they were walking to said, it says, "Hope is the North Star, let it guide you." And so really he is trying to give these people a feeling of hope, and that this is a good place that they're in and they can be safe here with no outside worries, with no worries about the outside world. Okay, he's given these people an oasis, a community that, you know, is kind of immune to the things that are going on outside their walls. Okay, so he's keeping this big secret for him. Whether or not it's a good idea, you know, will come into play eventually. So here we go, you know, so spoiler alert, comic spoiler alert, not a show spoiler, but a comic spoiler. Eventually, the kingdom will come to Rick's aid against Negan when they go to war against him. So at some point, Ezekiel is going to have to admit to the people in his community that they have been giving away food and supplies to this larger group, that they are really under a larger group's command. And it'll be really interesting then too to see how his people react to that, because that's kind of like a smack in the face, like, whoa, reality check. This is not as great of a place as you thought it was. By the way, we've been living under this really awful guy's rule for a long time now. And so I'm excited actually for that scene to eventually happen where he has to admit to his people that, you know, that Negan exists and this is what's been going on behind your backs this whole time. And one of the main reasons that Ezekiel also doesn't want to tell the people is that he's afraid that they will want to fight. Like, that's actually the main thing he's trying to avoid, is he doesn't want his people to fight back because he doesn't really think that he can win without losing them, and he's trying to protect the life you know, all of their lives right now. And he knows that if he chose to fight against Negan, that he would lose people and he would have to sacrifice people in order to get there. You know, in any kind of war battle against, you know, another group, you're bound to lose some of the people in your community, and that's really what he's worried about. So we also see Ezekiel talking to Morgan about his training with his staff, and you know, where kind of he learned it, and he wants Morgan to mentor this kid, and I can't remember the kid's name, of course, either, because I suck at remembering names until the characters have been there for a while. But Ezekiel wants Morgan to mentor this kid, and you can see that Morgan's really hesitant at first because he's tried before and he's seen that it doesn't always work. Okay, and he was trying with Carol too, but he tried with a wolf and look at where it got him. So he's hesitant, but then we see him start working with this kid, and you can see him softening a bit. And I think that that kid is going to be the reason that Morgan decides to stay at the kingdom. Now, this whole time, you know, he was marking the way back home. We knew he wanted to get home to Rick, and not necessarily just to Rick, you know, but get back to Alexandria. But now that he has this purpose of training this kid to survive, because Ezekiel says, you know, he's not good with any of these weapons that we've tried so far. And we don't know if it's just him with the weapons or if it's the teacher or what, but please try and help him. And you can kind of see that Morgan then has a purpose after that, that it seems like, at least in my eyes, that he's going to stay because he's going to want to mentor this kid. And I think this kid is probably going to be a pretty predominant character for a while whenever we do see the kingdom. Hopefully he lasts. I would hate to see Morgan be training him only to get, you know, only to see the kid get killed. That would suck. But of course I can't remember his name, so maybe he is one of the actual comic book characters. Tell me what his name is, okay? Because maybe he's one of the characters in the comics and he's not gonna die for a bit. I don't know, because I can't remember his name. We then get back with Carol, and we see that she's stealing food, and she gets caught by Ezekiel, who I think had probably been watching her a little bit more than she knew, and she's kind of caught by him and Jerry. And I love Jerry. I think everyone loves Jerry. He's pretty friggin' funny. There's definitely, like, I was laughing throughout the episode anyways, but Jerry really provided like some much needed comic relief. But we see that Ezekiel, he's realized that Carol is not who she was portraying herself to be when they first met. And he says to her, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. And, you know, she's been caught. He even says he fell for it at first, and then he realized, you know, kind of what she really was, that it was kind of all of a, you know, a different persona she was putting up. And we've come to find out that they are a lot more alike than she realizes. So we find out that I'm not going to go into it because you guys saw the episode too, but we find out that Ezekiel has this background in acting, and he's seen, you know, he knows how to act kind of like a king, and he has these people, and he knew that they needed a leader, and he became what they needed. And it was like, fake it till you make it. So fake being a leader and figure it out kind of as you go. And as he went, he figured out what the people needed and what the kingdom needed in order to thrive and survive. And we also learn how he got Shiva, and that kind of he used almost the gossip around how he got Shiva to kind of make himself seem greater than he actually was. And again, it's kind of a fake it till you make it. And so now he has his own persona that he puts out to the people, but he has let his wall down to Carol. And I think the reason that, so, you know, even after, so this whole conversation where he's kind of telling Carol who he really is, because he's trying to convince her to stay. And even at the very end, I thought she was going to be like, oh, you know, well, okay, I'll stay. But even then she's like, no, I don't care. I still have to go. And I was a little bit frustrated at first, but come to find out he has a better solution for her. How about you go, but you don't really go? So we see that she's kind of put up in a house. She's allowed to live in a house that's like outside of the kingdom, but not so far outside of the kingdom as to not be kind of in a safety net there. And the reason I think that she can relate to Ezekiel and is maybe more willing to let him in than she was to let Morgan, because, you know, we've seen this whole time Morgan has been trying to talk to her, like, you can come back from this, it's okay, you know, we'll work through this, we'll figure it out, you don't have to go off and die, you don't have to go off and be alone, like, we can do this. But Morgan knows everything that Carol's done, and there's that judgment there that even if he's not intending to pass any judgment, even if he has no intention of doing that, she still feels it's like Carol has found this brand new person in Ezekiel, and Ezekiel doesn't know her past. He has an idea of probably that she's had it rough, but he doesn't know any of the things that she's done in order to get to the place where she is right now. He doesn't know about Mika or Lizzie, you know, he doesn't know about Terminus, about the wolves. He doesn't know any of that, and he doesn't know about her daughter or Ed or any of her past. And so that's kind of where I think that they will eventually, you know, she can relate, not really relate to him, but she can be more of herself around him than she could with anyone who knew her, if that makes any sense at all. I had this in my head yesterday, and I wanted to record the video and I couldn't right then, and so I feel like I'm not explaining it proper, but it's kind of like you found a new friend and you're not even looking for a friend, but this person doesn't know anything about the bad things that you've done, and so you can start fresh and you can almost be a new person, and you can be whoever you want to be with this person because they don't know anything about you, and you could maybe even just be your real true self without all of the baggage, right? And so there's been a lot of talk because Michonne is now with Rick, and you guys knew I was gonna talk about this. I mean, come on. So if you don't like the whole shipping thing, I'm not into shipping, okay? It's not about that, but we have to talk about the potential relationship here. But for those of you who made the comments on my reaction video, like, why do you have to ship people? It's not about that. I was being silly for one, okay? And it's fun. I'm not taking it seriously, okay? But it's fun. So obviously we have to talk about this. So in the comics, Michonne and Ezekiel have a relationship, but now in the television show that Michonne is with Rick, we're kind of left wondering, well, is anyone going to fill that spot with Ezekiel? You know, where is Carol's storyline going? Because Carol in the comics is already dead. And I think it's safe to say that maybe not all of Michonne's storyline, but I think parts of it are being given to Carol, and I think one of those parts is indeed going to be some kind of relationship with Ezekiel. Maybe not right away here, but in the very end scene when we see Ezekiel come out to meet her, he's intrigued by her too, okay? Like, he sees her and he is interested, and he wants to know, you know, wants to maybe know more about her, but also wants to convince her that, like, staying in this house is a good idea and she doesn't have to run away. And I can definitely see that something is potentially gonna build there, and I'm excited to see it. All in all, I loved Ezekiel in this episode. I love Jerry. Carol kind of seems like she's gonna go, you know, she's headed up again. She's kind of pulling herself up from the bottom and I feel like she's going to become this new person. I feel like, you know, things are looking up for her now, and that it's not going to be so awful for her anymore. I think that she'll probably slowly find this friendship with Ezekiel, and that it is going to bring her back from this dark place that she was in, and I'm excited for that. Morgan, I'm excited to see him teach this young kid, you know, more about ways to fight, but also the philosophy behind it. You could see that he was really hesitant in giving the kid the book that he received from Eastman, but it's time to pass that on, and so I'm excited to see that. It looks like next episode we're still not going to see Rick and crew. We're going to be back at the Saviors, so I'll be doing a predictions video for that next, which you can look forward to in the next day or so. And the issue number 160, I think, for the Walking Dead comics just came out today. I'm about to head to the store and go get that, so there should also be a review coming for that as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments, and I will see you guys with my predictions for next week's episode, The Cell. Okay guys, that's it. I love you. I hope you have a great night, and I will see you next time.